As a coach who works with men and women who struggle with sexually compulsive disorders, over the past few years, I've seen a lot more women reaching out to me, incredibly hurt after discovering that their boyfriend or husband has a pornography addiction. These women feel terrible. They feel betrayed. Their sense of certainty in the relationship is basically devastated. What's interesting is that they usually say something along the lines of, but JK, everything else in our relationship is great, or, he's a really good man. And as a man who's been that guy in a relationship, I'll say that while this is true, he's still a man struggling with an addiction. And that addiction is destroying you, it's destroying him, and it's destroying your relationship. When we care for someone, we naturally feel a need to justify their behavior. That's normal. But it's that very justification that keeps us in this dysfunctional cycle, and we keep getting hurt over and over again. Now, pornography addiction, like any other addiction, affects not just the porn addict, but everyone else in their life. So today, we're going to talk about some of the ways that having a partner with a porn addiction has affected you and your relationship, and then we're going to talk about some of the steps that we can take to handle it. So some of the ways that it affects our relationship is that, sex in your relationship has disappeared or reduced in quality. When you have sex, there is either no connection or he does not seem present at all. You usually end up wondering if you're doing something wrong or if you are physically attractive enough. Maybe you think that some body part of yours is not the right shape or size. Maybe you feel that you're not adventurous or enthusiastic enough. The list goes on and on. Next is your partner is not spending, or your partner is spending a lot more time online. So he's spending a lot more time online alone. Maybe you're off to bed and he chooses to isolate himself to do more work or something else online, and it's become habitual. This can make you feel bad, especially if you begin to feel that perhaps he's choosing the internet over you. Your partner is a lot more judgmental. Now, men who are addicted to pornography have a tendency to objectify their partners and become very critical of different aspects of their partner's life. They may become critical of your physique, your lifestyle, and many other things which they previously never showed any interest in. Now, this is rough and can make you feel pretty bad about yourself. Sometimes you feel that no matter what you do, you're just never good enough for him. And it's true, because he set absolutely unrealistic standards for you thanks to pornography. This treatment can take a heavy toll on your self-esteem. Another one is your partner has developed new sexual interests. He has suddenly become maybe rougher in bed, or has begun to show interest in engaging in sexual acts that he previously showed no interest in. Some of these things may be acts that you're not comfortable with, or acts that you straight up have no interest in. Your partner becomes a lot more private and secretive. He starts changing the password on his devices, or he never leaves his devices around you. You may also start observing inconsistencies in the stories he tells you. And when you call him out on it, he acts overly defensive about them. Your partner has become more detached and cold. Now, this is when you feel that your partner is a lot more distant. It becomes obvious that the connection is no longer there. And this can be very difficult because he won't acknowledge it directly, or he will blame something else for his emotional unavailability. Sometimes, when you reach out to him, he flips it on you and accuses you of being overly emotional or just being needy or nagging. Okay, so let's assume that you're pretty sure that your partner has a problem with pornography. What do you do next? Well, there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is that you cannot make anyone stop their addiction or overcome it. Also, you run the risk of trying to help them and end up failing over and over again, which can just leave you exhausted. The good news is that nothing is wrong with you, and the burden is not on you to fix your partner's issues. You have to set very clear boundaries for yourself to stop you from going all in on this quest to save your partner. You don't have to put up with anything your partner says or does. This protects you from hurting yourself too much, and also helps you stay level-headed while sorting through the situation. So this is how that dysfunctional cycle I was talking about earlier works when your partner is addicted to porn. So you find out that he's keeping secrets related to his porn use from you, right? You confront him and he reacts by blaming you, blaming something else, or he becomes defensive, or he might become angry and he makes you the cause of the problem. Next, you usually work through it and he does one of two things. He either apologizes for his behavior, he tells you he really wants to quit, and tells you how much he appreciates you, or he shuts off, and I call it wearing his armor. He lets you know that you have no obligation to put up with his behavior, and he basically tells you that, you know what, if you don't really like this, you can leave. Now this second reaction is usually manipulative because it causes you, as the partner, to feel more responsible, think about how much you actually care for him and you want to be there and support him. Next, there's this short period where your relationship seems normal again, or even better. Then he relapses. He watches porn again and everything starts back from square one. A couple can go through this cycle dozens of times, which leaves the partner emotionally exhausted. It leaves you traumatized and devastated by all these repeated betrayals. Now, if any of this sounds familiar to you, my recommendation is to sit down with your partner and actually identify this cycle. Talk about it, bring it into the light, and realize that this cycle is very detrimental to your relationship. After that, set boundaries. If you haven't been focusing on yourself during the relationship, and it's always been about both of you, now is the time to start working on yourself. This is important because you have to build up or reinforce your self-esteem and confidence. Spend more time with your friends. Join classes you enjoy. Read uplifting material and just de-stress and strengthen yourself. You'll be better able to support your partner when you feel confident and happy with yourself.